G'day guys, it's about time to build a Mitre Saw Station. Stick with me and let's do this. This is one shop project I've been looking forward to for a long time. I was dismantling my Mitre Saw from the stand that I purchased with it, and this was by just disconnecting 4 nuts and then taking the top off the stand. I've had this old dresser sitting about for quite a while, and this is going to be part of the base for this portable build of a Mitre Saw station. This timber here, plywood, was given to me. It was shelving in a factory, and it was about 25 or 30 mil thick, so a little bit over 1 inch. I then went about to cut it down to a manageable size, which would then fit on top of the dresser. The base of the dresser, I'm cutting down this plywood to a certain size, and then I'm going to add some heavy duty castors, which will then act as a mobile base for this whole Mitre Saw station. So just quickly, small town with a small hardware store, and I try to believe in the notion, support the local. Got this nice little countersink bit. Guy grabbed it, took it to the counter. I lined up. He gave me the price, $28 for this. After 4 heart attacks, a couple of backflips and somersaults, I said, yes, thank you, I'll take it, because I really needed it. So always plan on what you're going to buy, do a bit of research, get it at a better price than this. I attached these castors, and then I went about flipping over the whole unit and going to work on measuring up and putting on the rest of the parts for the top, as well as inserting the drawers back in. Now this particular Mitre station is supposed to hold quite a fair bit of stuff, and I'll be doing future projects rearranging the drawers. I went outside because it was a nice day, and I cut down some more of this sheet good. Placed a line across the board so I could just get a little bit of nice symmetry for the wheels, and I used my made at home type speed square here, as you can see, and that made quick work of cutting down these to size. I may have got away with building I think they're called a 4 type setup for it, but I had plenty of this plywood, and I thought I'm going to utilise it and just build up layers, and I think at the end it did come up quite nice. So joining this back up and then inserting a couple of screws back into locked and secure the Mitre Saw down. Next step is to measure out the height of the base here, and also working on the length that I wanted to have the infeed and outfeed tables at. So for the infeed and outfeed part of this build, I've got a better quality plywood here, which is has a really good top surface, and I thought, why not treat myself here? It's probably the flashiest part of the build, but we'll come together, and as you can see, it does look a little bit more striking than some of the rough boards I did use earlier. But yeah, so just measuring and marking out now as to where I would position things, and go ahead and cut them down to size as well. As you can see, dust everywhere, but I'm eliminating that slowly. This is wholly a scrapwood build. Used just about anything I could find my hands on in the garage, and So I've got this old plywood that was out of a shipping container and has a lot of character just through some of the funny things that are, you know, sort of printed upon it. So I just secured that with some nails, then went back, and I should have probably at the start cut out this circle prior to mounting the Mitre Saw, because it got a bit rough, and you know, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. All you're doing is creating a hole so you can suck out the sawdust. So this is my positioning of where I put the pipe. After celebrating putting all these screws in, I then cut the, this is probably the base for the infeed and outfeed. Now, I did the measurements, as you've seen before, with a vernier caliper, and I sort of measured out the thickness of the board going on top, and then just worked to do a few extra trim cuts and get it down to the correct size so there was clearance. Using pocket hole jigs to attach this, I've made a little blue here. As you can see, this is the front, and I should have positioned them the other way around, but never mind. It is a shop build after all. So as you can see, this is looking pretty good. I'll now mark out, this is where I'm going to now put in a T-track. I'm using 19mm or 3/4 inch round bit to groove out this slot, dado, whatever you want to call it, and attaching that with some screws which are going to actually also take this Craig clamp, which is a handy thing to have. And I did this attachment with another jig build I did recently, if you want to go back and have a look at that. Anyway, so I'm using the old combination square here just to align and position my screws, and so far so good. I'm pretty happy with it. One of the other steps I wanted to do is bore out here a hole for where my shop vac hose could fit through. And I still got to modify this a bit, but for the time being I think this is going to be handy enough. Found some more scrap and I'm going to drill this out. This is going to be my stop blocks on both sides of this Mitre Saw Station, and it's just going to be handy. People might be asking, are you using tape so you can get your measurements right? And I thought to myself, I've never all the time needed to do that, because I mark everything out with a pencil, and yeah, so I just butt it up, and once I've got the measurement I want, Bob's your uncle. So, and this clamp works really well too. I was thinking about this, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go ahead with doing this. So as you saw, I had a bit of plywood. I was going to try to trace out some of the contour of the mechanical parts, you know, when things are in action, and I've sort of pivoted around different angles, and I come to the conclusion, having had a fair bit of use now, and having piped in 2 dust ports, really finding that as sufficient as I probably need. Never forget that just by putting on a box in the background and having something to land that dust in is just so much better than not having it. And I think that from what I see, you don't get too much dust coming back out, and if it does, it's because you're taking quite large cuts, which for most of us doesn't happen too frequently. So I'm just going to go and do most of my work and see how that goes over the next probably 6 months. Then if I come back and redecide I want to do something to capture the dust a little bit more, I'll investigate then. So anyway, I'm going to leave it like this because it's pretty good as it is. So good to play around, put things in your mind, ask people, and let's keep going. So it was time to test this out. I turned on all the dust extraction, as you can see, and I did initial cuts here. I did a lot of cuts. I have been practicing on this for quite a while, and I found I run into a bit of a hiccup here because the hose was not the hose was coming out as I was doing this. So I've got to make that hole a bit bigger. Using Danish oil to finish this up, and I think it's going to look pretty good like this. Concluding, I'm really wrapped with this because it works, and at the end of the day it's a shop project, and if it works, you're home and hosed. So that's it for this one, guys. Wasn't very expensive to build. This dresser cost me about 20 bucks second hand. Castors I think were about $30, $35. So we're looking around about $55, $60 build with a couple of accessories. And that bit, well, as I told you about before, but never mind. If this is the first time to Sumo's projects, go and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave me some comments down below as to what you think of, if you like this type of design, or if you thought it was flawed. For me personally, the dust is gone, so I don't really care about how fancy this looks. The drawers hold stuff, this cuts stuff, and the rest sucks it up. Simple. Alright. Till next time, take care, get out the shop, and happy woodworking. Hooroo!